Welcome back to the Late Reader. The lamp is lit. The window is open. The rain has not stopped. Settle in. Listen.
My nerves are shot. They always have been. I run a little too hot, a little too aware of everything around me. But calling me crazy is just lazy. If anything, my brain just processes more than yours does. My hearing especially. I can hear the router buzzing in the living room. I can hear the structural beams of the apartment building cooling and contracting at night. My senses aren't broken. They're just dialed in.
I don't know when the idea first clicked into place. I didn't hate the old man. I was his live-in aide. I made his meals, sorted his daily pill organizers, helped him navigate the house. He paid well. I didn't want his money. He never once snapped at me. I actually liked him. It was just his eye.
One of his eyes was ruined. A bad cataract, or maybe glaucoma. I never checked his medical file for that specifically. It was a pale, washed-out blue, covered in a thick, milky film. When he looked at me with that eye, my chest got tight. My blood felt like it was turning to slush. It wasn't him. It was the eye. I had to get rid of it. You think a crazy person could be as patient as I was? I spent a whole week setting it up. I was nicer to him than ever. I made him his favorite tease. But
I put black electrical tape over my phone's flashlight, leaving just a tiny, razor-thin scratch in the tape. I'd push the door open, taking a full hour just to get it wide enough for my head to slip through. An hour. Just inching the wood along the frame so the hinges wouldn't make a single sound. Would a crazy person be that disciplined?
Once I was inside, I'd turn on the flashlight. A single microscopic thread of white light would cut through the pitch black of the room and land right on his face. But for 7 nights, his eye was closed. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to hurt the old man. I just wanted to kill the eye.
On the 8th night, I was even more careful. I was easing the door open, feeling this incredible surge of power. He was sleeping just a few feet away, completely clueless. I almost laughed out loud. Maybe I breathed too heavily, or maybe my thumb slipped on the knob. Whatever it was, he shifted on the bed. He sat up. "Who's there?"
I froze. I didn't breathe. I stood in the absolute dark for an entire hour. I didn't hear him lie back down. He was just sitting there, listening. I knew exactly how he felt. I've done it too, lying awake at 3 in the morning, hearing the house settle, trying to convince myself it's just a stray cat outside, or the wind in the vents. But he knew it wasn't the wind. He could feel me standing there. Finally, I tapped the screen of my phone. The flashlight clicked on. That tiny razor-thin beam shot across the room and landed perfectly on the eye.
That milky, pale blue film. It made me sick to my stomach. I couldn't see his face, just the eye, glowing in the beam of light. Then I heard it. A low, dull, rapid thumping. It sounded like a heavy watch wrapped in a thick towel. It was his heart. It started beating faster, louder. The terror radiating off him was filling the room. The thumping got so loud I thought the neighbors would hear it through the drywall. The sound pushed me over the edge.
I dropped the phone. I lunged across the room. He let out one short, ragged yell before I tackled him to the mattress. I grabbed the heavy memory foam topper and pulled it completely over him, pressing my entire body weight down on top of it. He struggled, but not for long. The muffled thumping of his heart kept going for a few minutes against the foam. Then, it stopped. I pulled the bedding back. He was gone. The eye was finally dead.
I didn't panic. I was completely methodical. I took the body into the master bathroom. I lined the porcelain tub with heavy-duty plastic drop cloths. I used a reciprocating saw. I was careful, precise, and clean. Not a single drop of blood touched the tile. In his bedroom, the original hardwood floorboards were loose near the closet. I pried 3 of them up, tucked the pieces down into the dusty space between the joists, and nailed the wood back down flush. You couldn't tell anything had been touched. It was 4 in the morning when the doorbell rang.
3 cops were standing on the porch. The streetlights caught the badges on their vests. A neighbor had called in a noise complaint, said they heard a scream. I smiled. I invited them in. I told them I had a bad dream and yelled out in my sleep. I told them the old man had taken a rideshare to his daughter's place in the suburbs late last night. I gave them the grand tour. I told them to take their time, look wherever they wanted.
We ended up in his bedroom. I was feeling so good, so incredibly untouchable that I brought in some folding chairs. I told them to sit and take a load off. I pulled up his desk chair and sat down right on top of the exact floorboards where I had hidden him. The cops were relaxed. My calm energy put them at ease. They asked a few routine questions, jotted some notes, and then just started making small talk about the weather and the night shift. That's when my head started to ache.
It was a faint ringing at first, but it didn't go away. It shifted. It gained a rhythm, a low, dull, rapid thumping, like a heavy watch wrapped in a thick towel. I shifted in my chair. I talked a little louder, asking one of the cops about his patrol route, but the sound kept climbing. It was coming from under the floor. I started talking faster. I laughed at things that weren't funny. The thumping grew heavier. It was a wet, rhythmic pounding, vibrating right through the soles of my sneakers. Thump, 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 thump.
The cops just kept smiling and nodding. They didn't hear it, or they were pretending they didn't hear it. I stood up and started pacing. I argued with them about some random news story, waving my hands around. The noise just kept getting louder. It was deafening. It was echoing off the drywall. How could they not hear it? They knew. They had to know. They were sitting there with those calm, polite smiles, just watching me squirm. They were mocking me. The pounding was in my teeth. It was rattling my jaw. I couldn't take the smiling anymore.
I told them to drop the act. I pointed to the floor between my feet, right where the wood met the rug. I told them to pry up the boards. I told them to listen to the terrible, deafening rhythm beating just beneath my shoes.
That was the story. The lamp will still be on when you wake. New stories every Friday at the late hour. Until then, watch your reflection.